Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to the next book discussion in the series IHC Conversations with Authors that is presented by the Habitat Library and Resource Center. On behalf of India Habitat Center, we extend a warm welcome to Shri V. Srinivas, Secretary to Government of India, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, and Department of Pension and Pensioners' Welfare. Shri V. Srinivas will be chairing the discussion today. We welcome Dr. C.K. Mathew and Dr. C. Sheela Reddy, who will be in conversation of the book being featured in today's discussion, Viksit Bharat at 2047, Governance Transformed. Shri V. Srinivas has served as Special Secretary, Additional Secretary, Joint Secretary, and Deputy Secretary in the Government of India in the years 2000 to 2021 in the Ministries of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Health and Family Welfare, Culture, Textiles, Finance and Company Affairs, External Affairs, and Petroleum and Natural Gas. Okay, sir, still for the sake of, no problem, sir. Just we have to let us, we will be honored actually introducing you, that's why. Shri Srinivas was elected as President of International Institute of Administrative Sciences, Brussels, for the period 2025 to 2028. He is a recipient of the Digital India Award 2020 for e-Office. He is a recipient of 2 fellowships from Indian Council of World Affairs for his books India's Relations with International Monetary Fund 1991 to 2016 and G20 at 2023, The Roadmap to India's Presidency. His third book, The March to New India, Governance Transformed 2014 to 2019, was published in 2019. Shri Srinivas has also published 199 papers and articles and delivered over 100 orations. Dr. C.K. Mathew is a visiting faculty at Azim Premji University. He is a retired Indian Administrative Service Officer from the 1977 batch. He was Chief Secretary of the State in Rajasthan in 2012 and 2013. Post-retirement, he worked for about 4 years as a Senior Fellow in the Public Affairs Center, Bengaluru, where he developed an index for the measurement of quality of governance in the states of India, known as Public Affairs Index. For a short while, he was also Special Rapporteur for the southern states under the National Human Rights Commission. Currently, Dr. Mathew is a member of the Managing Committee of a few Delhi public schools in Karnataka and Rajasthan. He has also been inducted as a member of the Central Board of the Bharat Sevak Samaj. His doctoral thesis was on symbolism in the selected poems of Emily Dickinson. Thesis was also published as a book later. He has also written 2 books titled Reviewing the Republic, Reflections on the Constitution of India, and The Historical Evolution of the District Officer, as well as he has written 2 novels. Professor C. Sheela Reddy is currently Dean, Central University of Andhra Pradesh. Dr. Sheela Reddy had earlier worked as Assistant Professor in the Department of Political Science and Public Administration, Sri Venkateshwara University, Tirupati. She subsequently joined Indian Institute of Public Administration, IIPA, New Delhi. She was appointed Chair Professor, Dr. Ambedkar Chair in Social Justice, IIPA in 2016 and continued until January 2021. Dr. Reddy facilitated the collaboration of IIPA with the Potsdam Center for Policy Management, University of Potsdam, Germany, and GSZ, Afghanistan. This initiative was the first of its kind in IIPA. Dr. Reddy was co-editor, Indian Journal of Public Administration from 2020 to 2021. She has served as Principal, Sri Venkateshwara College, University of Delhi, and was recognized for her extraordinary service rendered as principal. Dr. Reddy has published extensively in national and international journals and has authored 6 books. Her extensive published work has been acknowledged for its research and academic rigor. She has been actively engaged in evaluation and impact research studies with respect to the government schemes and projects. May I now request Chair for the today's session, Mr. V. Srinivas, to kindly take forward the discussion on the book. Thank you so much.
So, Dr. C.K. Mathew, our former Chief Secretary, my former Chief Secretary, in fact, my Chief Secretary, and Dr. Sheela Reddy. It's a delight to host you in Delhi. After February, I think this is the first time you have visited, and at that time we had released this book in the International Institute of Administrative Sciences DARPG Conference 2025. February 10th, we had released the book. After that, this book has done very well, and it has been featured in a number of book discussions. It was presented in many national as also international fora, and copies have been distributed widely across Government of India as also several international missions. And today it is considered as one of the big comprehensive documentations of India's Viksit Bharat at 2047 journey. So let me also thank Bhavna ji. In fact, I was in the library a few days ago, and I had met her, and I said, why don't you organize a book discussion on this subject? And she said, oh, definitely we will schedule it. And barely within 2 weeks after that, we have this event that has been planned in IHC. So the title of the book is Viksit Bharat at 2047, Governance Transformed. This actually is an agenda of the Department of Administrative Reforms in formulating a vision for 2047. And we thought when the IAS approached us to conduct the conference in Delhi, we thought we will have a comprehensive documentation by several serving as also retired secretaries to Government of India and senior officers and faculty who would formulate this book. And we couldn't think of anybody else other than Dr. Mathew, given his vast experience in writing books, as also his vision of governance in formulating the Public Affairs Index to take it forward. And Dr. Sheela Reddy I had known from her years in the Indian Institute of Public Administration. She had also addressed our Constitution Day webinars on the theme, how particularly this chapter 17 of the Constitution, which deals with services and with particular emphasis on articles 309, 310, 311, and also UPSC reforms, which is 312. So we thought we would request both of them, and they willingly came forward to accept this invitation and curated this massive volume, 750 pages. In fact, every time I participate in a book discussion, I find that I should reread many of the chapters of this book to find a new vision. So today I was looking at Gazing the Crystal Ball. The last one I participated in at Vivekananda International Foundation. They were asking me a number of questions of how, what is the vision, what actually will change by 2047. So let me take you to what actually we have documented in this. We've tried to present the vision of Prime Minister Modi from his Independence Day address, when he mentioned the Panch Pran and cited it as one of the major goals for Viksit Bharat at 2047. And of course, we do have an international publication. We have international authors like Professor Paul Joyce, who wrote the foreword of the book, in which he said that this collaboration between the Department of Administrative Reforms and IAS in the design and realization of this book can be seen as a contribution to the long-term strategic endeavor to advance international knowledge creation and exchange in public administration. So the documentation of India's journey over the past decade would be of great theoretical and practical significance. So we tried to explain what is the concept of maximum governance, minimum government, and how the concept of maximum governance, minimum government, which envisages a technology transformation in governance with focus on a digitally empowered citizen and a digitally transformed institution. If you read the various chapters in this book, this is what the book largely presents. And there are several themes across various chapters, wherein which capacity building programs for civil servants like Mission Karma Yogi increasingly shifting to online platforms, improving service delivery, largely shifting to eliminating direct transfers and eliminating middlemen and shifting to a system of direct benefit transfers, Aadhaar-enabled biometric systems coming in, direct benefit transfers in terms of LPG, in Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, across systems, pension disbursements through DBT, also in terms of electoral reforms, the voter verifiable paper audit trails being introduced, sweep portal coming in, and of course there are chapters which deal with infrastructure development and our international policy of being a Vishwa Bandhu and a Vishwa Guru and a Vishwa Mitra. So there is also aspects which deal with ease of living, and the first chapter of the book I had authored, which dealt with next generation administrative reforms, and the subject of next generation administrative reforms seeks to highlight the various administrative reforms that have been undertaken over the past decade that envisage recognizing meritocracy through the Prime Minister's Awards for Excellence in Public Administration, a comprehensive revamp of Civil Services Day to celebrate governance across India, promoting e-governance through the National E-Governance Award Scheme, improving the citizen interface through a comprehensive revamp of effective redressal of public grievances, as also benchmarking governance through the Good Governance Index. In fact, I recall in my early years in DARPG, Dr. Mathew had visited Delhi in 2019 or 2018, late 2018 or early 2019, when we were discussing formulating an index, and the first Good Governance Index came out on December 25, 2019, which was an assessment of the governance quality of states. There are also the impact of the direct benefits transfer on India's governance models has been comprehensively discussed, and what actually constitutes the digital public infrastructure, that is the Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile trinity that constitutes the digital public infrastructure of India, along with the entire Aadhaar seeding across government programs. There is a chapter written by Anil Trigunath on Vishwaguru, which is the teacher of the world. It reflects India's historical role as a global knowledge leader, excelling in science, mathematics, astronomy, and several other aspects. And he's also highlighted the role that we played as a voice of the global south, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic when vaccine Maitri was introduced. And so this actually constituted 3 or 4 of the very critically important chapters. And as I would like to point out, the state has become increasingly more agile, and an agile form of government. Agility in governance has been the focus. So we would have a system where citizens would apply, write to government, not get replies. Today, the CP-Grams, as the world's largest interface, ensures that on the 14th day, every citizen gets a reply. In fact, we try to ensure that every pensioner also gets a reply in case of any of his grievances, launch special campaigns to ensure that grievance redressal platforms are functioning with a level of electricity. So citizen-oriented, in fact, I did say many times, even in my visits to LBS-NAA, that governance models have become more accountable, and accountability levels in governance, particularly to the highest echelons, have increased tremendously. So let me also speak about this last chapter written by Adil Zainul Bhai, Grazing into the Crystal Ball. How do we see Vision India at 2047? And so he has highlighted, of course, our growth into one of the largest economies in the world, and the reforms and policies that would be needed to make India the 3rd largest economy, with GDP projected at $30 trillion and a per capita income of roughly around $18,000 to $20,000. So to reach there, what he has suggested is New India's aspirational growth story with growth around 9%, and network patterns of infrastructure development, advancing India's ongoing digital revolution, upskilling the labor force, and sustaining the human capital formation, as also improvement in state capacity. In fact, one of these ideas we had picked up and set up a center of excellence for state capacity building at the Administrative Staff College of India, so that the ideas of governance can be disseminated widely across premier schools of public policy. So there's also the startup story that has found mention, wherein which so many unicorns have come. India's startups have grown by 900%, and today we have the third highest number of unicorns, which enable private capital formation. There's also the presentation with regard to the infrastructure development initiatives, and in terms of budget allocation, the allocations for infrastructure development have enhanced almost fivefold. So as we leapfrog into an elevated global superpower status, particularly in advancing the digital revolution, so there is also a tremendous amount of focus on how we can become a data-rich nation. In fact, many times I have said that in God we all trust, but everybody brings data to the table. Decision-making has become increasingly data-centric. And there's also a lot of focus on how do we create more jobs as working age population increases by at least 12 million per year and until 2030. So there is an imperative need to create about 6 million jobs to meet the employment needs of everyone. So there is focus on the path to Viksit Bharat, which is through 3 C's: commitment, collaboration, and capabilities, so that India's tryst with destiny can be completed unequivocally and not left to chance. So let me conclude by saying what this book says. This book speaks of Viksit Bharat is no longer a distant dream. Its vision is steadily turning into reality. So this book has been deliberated, discussed in many fora, and continues to be discussed. In fact, today in my deliberations with Dr. Mathew, he had several new ideas on how we can take this forward, and it has been acknowledged and received a lot of respect. Of course, the contributions of the editorial team led by Dr. Mathew and Professor Sheela have been widely acknowledged. So let me once again welcome you, sir, and also ma'am, for being here today, and we look forward to listening to your views. Thank you.
Good evening to all of you. Mr. Srinivas, Dr. Reddy, and friends in the audience. Let me at the outset thank DARPG, India Heritage Center, and all of you for inviting me here. I must say I am proud and privileged to be associated with this book. I retired about 10, 11 years ago, leading a quiet academic life, and I was pulled out of storage, as they say, and brought here by Mr. Srinivas to put this book together. Before I begin, a few words I must say about Mr. Srinivas. I think we have known each other for more than 25 years. 35 years, yeah. And this one thing I can say with assurance that whichever post he has sat on, he has transformed it. I remember a post where I used to discuss with him in the Science and Technology Department, a dead, moribund department. And he galvanized it, got so much of funding from the government of India, transformed the entire scene. I still remember with great pride that he did. And his last posting in Rajasthan, where he was chairman of the Board of Revenue, which just brings out judgments, as you know, revenue judgments. I think he galvanized the department again. He used to do extensive touring, deep into the heart of rural Rajasthan, pulled up the Shilars and Ezrios, and really brought some life and earned the respect. And DRPG was signed, and it was decided that we should bring about some publication which will reflect the current status of India. They are in the habit of bringing out country books, so India was next in line. And I remember in April, if I remember right, April 18th, 2024,
the first meeting took place, chaired by Mr. Srinivas, in which all the authors, prospective authors, were on the other side, mostly through video, and some of us were sitting with him, and we thrashed out the broad concept of this book. And the broad concept was energized by the fact that we were approaching the 75th anniversary of our republic. Just 8-9 months from April 2024, we would reach January 25 and the 75th anniversary. This book is therefore a real tribute to what we have done in the last 75 years in the country. So that was the primary objective. Then we had to identify writers, authors, with vast experience on the subject that they're going to write on. And they were, I think, almost 100% practitioners, people with 30-35 years of experience in government, people who must have spent maybe 8-10 years in the subject they are going to write on, and with kind of experience that can't be matched elsewhere. So Mr. Srinivas was able to identify, I think, 15 to 20 writers who expressed their willingness to document the change that we have brought in our country from the early days. Now, we gave them 3 or 4 broad guidelines. Number one, they should write based on their experience in life in that sector. It cannot be simply statistics. It should examine issues, questions, controversies, and come to some kind of conclusion when they write. Their words must be limited to 7,500 words. That was the cutoff, 7,500 words. And we gave them 3 indicators. Number one, in your essay, you must mention what was the status in 1947 on that sector, with schooling or health or education. That sector reflected certain realities of 1947, so that must be mentioned. Second part, take us through the transformation over the last 75 years, all the miracles we have done in really transforming and changing various sectors of the government. And lastly, look at current issues. What are the subsisting problems and which direction are we going in? Look into the future. These were the broad 3 areas that they were asked to cover. Now, from April 24 to November 24, 6-7 months, was really tough, especially for editors, because we had to go through these 20-odd essays several times, not once but several times, going into full stop, comma and semicolon, corresponding with the writer, taking their acceptance, rewriting it, so this up and down, to and fro went about 3-4 times. So by November 24, we were, I think, more or less clear, put it into an order, and we sent it. Now there is another process where IIAS comes in. They take the entire text and go through a second editing process at their level, because they have different protocols to follow. That took, I think, about a month and a half. And finally, by December or so, the book was ready. Remember that our target was 25th January 2025. So I'm happy to say that we were able to achieve the target. And by February 10th, 2025, the book was formally launched in a very grand function in Delhi. So taking it through this entire process was, I think, thanks to you, very, very satisfying for me and Dr. Sheela and the other editors. Now, because Mr. Srinivas is the president of the IIAS, and there is so much of potential ahead, a vast organization across countries, so I'm going to make 2 or 3 requests to him to take this forward on the same line. Going through the book now, once this hurry-burry is over and calmly sitting down and going through the book, we find that there are certain gaps, certain subjects are missing. So today, Dr. Sheela and I sat down and prepared a list of about, I think, 10 or 12 subjects, which can be the basis for the second volume, because this cannot end here. We must have a second volume. For example, we have not looked at energy security. What have we done for energy in the country? What have we done for water, drinking water and agriculture water? What have we done in school education? So these are certain gaps which have to be filled up, and he has more or less agreed in principle that we will have a second volume in the next year or so, where these missing aspects would also be brought out. That is my first request. Second request is, when we look at development and transformation of a country, we tend to look at it from the top. All these essays are about policy formulation, broad implementation, guidelines, difficulties, all that. But to the man on the street, to the last man, is that benefit going? What we call the last mile. There are problems in the last mile. So I was requesting Mr. Srinivas, take few critical areas, maybe education, maybe health, water, power. The changes that we have brought about in the 75 years, how do they touch the man on the street, the last man on the street? And we could have a collection of essays which looks at it not from the top but from the bottom, so that we get a perspective of how we have really actually transformed their lives. This is my second request to you. And the third request is, in India, the district is really the key unit of administration. We have about 750 odd districts in our country, and the district collector, whom we call the district officer or district magistrate, deputy commissioner, he is very, very key in the great changes that we're bringing about. So I'm suggesting a series of essays or a book looking at district administration and how crucial it is in the task of transforming our country. So these broad three ideas I'm leaving with him, and with the vast resources that he has now at his command, I'm sure that some progress will be made in this regard. So let me once again thank Mr. Srinivas personally and DARPG and all those who helped in this process. Let me wish you all the best and hope that we carry this forward in the days to come. Thank you.
Respected chair of this session, Shri Srinivas ji, the man behind this publication and who was, I should say, the inspiring and guiding force that this publication could materialize, and the chairperson of the editorial board, Dr. Mathew, who is very systematic and meticulous, and all the invitees, and especially those of you who have come over here after a hard day's work, especially on a working day. I know it is tough to spend an evening like this. And my dear friend and very dear to my heart, Professor Runki Basu, and the IHC organizers, especially Bhavana and Mrs. Subramaniam. Very good evening to all of you. In fact, I am very fortunate to be associated with this endeavor. And I don't know what Srinivas ji found in me, and I am really immensely grateful to him for reposing faith in me. Now, after having heard Srinivas ji and Mathew, Dr. Mathew, about the process that was involved in bringing out this publication, I thought I would speak something about this book, the contents of the book. Basically, I'll be focusing on three questions, like what is the spirit behind the book? What has driven us to bring out this book? The second would be what is unique about this publication? And the third, if time permits, what could be the follow-up action? Now, as I stand before you this evening, I am prompted to start this discussion with two quotes which are relevant for our discussion. The first is the quote of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. I quote, "We must transform India into a developed nation, and a developed nation is one that is self-reliant, economically strong, and stands with dignity." I unquote. This connotes that development is not just GDP or infrastructure, but also about self-reliance, strength, and national pride. This perception or thought process drives the vision of Viksit Bharat. To further extent, I also would like to quote our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. These are the excerpts of a speech which he delivered in US Congress in June 2023. These you find in the publication also in the chapter of Srinivas ji. I again quote, "When I first visited the US as Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world. Today, India is the 5th largest economy, and India will be the 3rd largest economy very soon. We are not only growing bigger, but we are growing faster. When India grows, the whole world grows. After all, we are 1/6 of the world's population. In the last century, when India won its freedom, it inspired many other countries to free themselves from colonial rule. In this century, when India sets benchmarks in growth, it will inspire many other countries to do the same. Our vision is, you all know, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas." So these words set the stage for our discussion. As rightly pointed out by Srinivas ji, Viksit Bharat is not just a dream. It is a collective mission where innovation meets inclusion and progress reaches every village. It is a vision that unites 1.4 billion hearts. So from launching space missions like Chandrayaan-3 to become the world's largest or the fastest growing major economy, we are proving to the world that India is not just a country, it is an emotion. So, against this backdrop, if I have to speak or talk about my first question, that is, what is the spirit behind this book, I would like to say that it is necessary to unfold the growth story and share the transformational journey with wider readership. India is on the cusp of transformation, and the transformation is quite evident under the able and visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. So this book, as you know, it is a collaborative endeavor of DARPG and International Institute of Administrative Sciences. It is a public governance series, volume 7. It was conceptualized and materialized at an opportune moment which commemorated with the 75 years of Indian Republic. Now coming to my second question, what is unique about this publication? I can confidently say that this volume is an essential contribution to the discourse on governance in India. Indeed, this year of 2025, when we celebrated the 75th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution and formation of the Republic of India, we are at a vantage point in history to assess the path hitherto traveled and also chart out the direction ahead. So the book explores a range of critical themes central to the governance of India. The uniqueness of this book is the book comprises chapters by team of experts with a deep knowledge and understanding of practical affairs of governance and public administration in India. So it is certainly an impressively authoritative reference on public governance and public administration in India. We all know that in recent decades, the transformation of public administration has been very rapid. Digital governance, e-governance platforms, and increasing public engagement, they have redefined how governance is perceived and practiced. Civil servants, they are no longer just implementers of policy. They are thought leaders, innovators, and bridge builders between the government and the citizens. So interestingly, this book captures these shifts while also reflecting on historical foundations as Dr. Mathew has rightly outlined, that continue to influence the present system. I feel it is always easy to speak as an author than as an editor. So to put things in perspective, this volume can be broadly categorized into 3 domains. This we have not done in the publication, and this categorization is also not sacrosanct. But for the benefit of the audience, to get a feel of the book and to get acquainted with the contents of the book, I thought this could be an easy way to interact with you. So when I say 3 domain, few chapters, they present a broad overview of the Indian system and governance. And those chapters, chapter 2, 5, 12, 14, and 18. I just share the titles of the chapters. Of course, it is not possible to speak about each chapter. Here and there, maybe I'll speak one or two sentences about some chapters. So these chapters, which we categorized as those which present broad overview of the Indian system, include the evolution of the Constitution of India, the institution of civil service in India, building of a thriving democracy in India, social justice and affirmative action, building social capital through gender inclusion. Why I felt like categorizing these 5 into those which present a broad overview, because they give us an insight into the basic nature of Indian political system, form of government, and other substantive issues concerning inclusion and empowering all. Now coming to the next categorization, the second domain relates to governance paradigms with a special focus on grassroots governance. When I share the titles of the chapters, you will understand for yourselves. The chapter numbers are 1, 3, 13, 14, 15, and 17. Of course, the first chapter is Viksit Bharat, New Paradigms in Governance, Empowering Citizens and Reaching the Last Mile, authored by Srinivas ji, wherein it talks about how the Indian governance model has embraced next generation reforms, leveraging technology and through innovation. And other chapters which fall under this category are Improving Public Service Delivery, an Indian Experience, Urban Development, India's Urban Renaissance, Empowering Cities and Transforming the Nation, Rural Development, the Village in Focus, Democratic Decentralization, Power to the People, and a chapter which gives an overview of the development of public administration and governance. So these 6 chapters, I thought, talk about the governance-related paradigms and grassroots level governance. For example, in the public service delivery, there is a discussion on how there are success stories in few states and how we can draw lessons from those success stories. We all know that in governance, there is no one size fits for all. Governance is contextual, and governance is a response to a specific socio-political situation. Even within a country, the way policies and programs operate differ from region to region because of the local considerations, the leadership over there, and other related issues. So they really capture these titles, these 6 titles, they really capture the essence of governance issues, the concerns, the challenges, and the way forward in these particular areas, in the identified areas. When we come to the third domain, so the first was 5 chapters, the second was 6 chapters. Even in the third domain, I have categorized as sector specific. When we talk of sector specific, the chapters 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 16, they specifically deal with certain sectors like Indian agriculture, which talks about green revolution strategies and the growth of the allied sectors, which is very, very important for the growth of the economy. Then higher education from dream to reality of every Indian, wherein extensively the national education policies 2020 is also discussed. Then problems and prospects in health sector in India, that is learning from the past. So you get a historical perspective and what lessons we have learned in the health sector if you go through that chapter. Then climate change and environment with special sections on energy and water. So that's what Dr. Mathew said. We need a comprehensive, document or a comprehensive chapter on these two very important issues like energy and water, which is not there currently in this book. Very briefly, it has been discussed in relation to climate change and environment. Then the infrastructure development, bridging the critical gaps, and digital public infrastructure as digital public good. So 5, 6, 6. So these are the 17 chapters which could be put across into 3 domains. And coming to 3, which I feel do not fit into 3 domains, but very important chapters are, as mentioned by Srinivas ji when he was talking to you, Vishwaguru and Vishwamitra, relations with the world. That is how, or reclaiming India as a Vishwaguru by Vishwabandhu. Here, the author tries to, very succinctly talk about the acronym Bharat. That appealed to me, so I thought I would share this with you. In Bharat, B signifies biggest country by population, benign yet assertive, and a bridge between east and west and north and south. When you talk about H, Bharat is a home of morality and spirituality. And A, it is action and result oriented. Then R, it signifies the famous dictum of our Honorable Prime Minister, reform, perform, and transform. And India is no longer a rule taker, but it should be a rule maker. And A, it is assuming responsibility and leadership, abandoning hesitations of history. And T, it tackling engagement and entanglement adroitly. So this is one chapter which stands apart from the 3 domains. And the other includes the medium is more than message. The title is quite intriguing. So where the author talks about many shades of power, and he also talks about India's soft power. And he very rightly says that India's soft power is by default rather than by design. So there is also a mention about how India is strategically positioning herself as a key player on the global stage, taking a lead in multilateral forums, as we see BRICS and other related forums. And finally, the chapter concludes with 3 components of power, that is Mantrana Shakti, strategic influence, Prabhu Shakti, sovereign authority, Utsaha Shakti, that is dynamic energy. And the last chapter on which Sri Srinivas ji also deliberated, that is into the crystal ball, looking towards 2047. I can say that it is quite futuristic. There are some futuristic projections also. And it highlights the India stack concept. What is this India stack concept? It enables e-commerce services through the interoperability of digital public goods, and also refers to how we can leapfrog through technology and how important it is for engendering a skilled workforce and also about infrastructure networks that is connecting people and places to aspirations of mobility. Now, we all know that governance is multi-dimensional. When governance is multi-dimensional, what is needed is a multi-directional effort. It cannot be a unidirectional effort. So these 20 essays enclosed within the covers of this volume, they offer a panoramic view of certain dimensions of the Indian political socio-economic scenario. If you look at the very nature of the essays, they are comprehensive and holistic, but they are not complete. Why I say this is, there is much that remains to be said or remains to be told, because any country, this we have explicitly stated in the editors have stated in the conclusion, that any country on the trajectory of growth is perpetually a work in progress. And in this journey, it has to constantly adapt to national and international changes if it seeks to sustain that growth over a period of time. Governance or good governance is not a finished product. It is dynamic and continuously evolving. So there will be something to be shared on a continuous basis. So that is why I said it is work, we said in the conclusion, it's a work in progress and much needs to be shared. So these 20 essays of the volume, they share diverse perspectives on key governance areas, reflecting the experience and expertise of authors who were very, very passionate about the subjects they chose. So, friends, this book certainly merits your attention. At least you need to have a glance at the book. The book looks voluminous, but when you glance through the pages of the book, it is reader-friendly, and you have short paragraphs in every chapter with nice subheadings, which are very catchy and which will enthuse the reader to go further into the book. So, though we have a small audience, small is always beautiful. So, I request all of you that make an effort to read the book and to widely disseminate about it. So I would like to say that we cannot be simply forecasting the future. We should be actively participating in its creation. So the last chapter concludes, Srinivas ji has said, but I would like to reiterate it, that realizing Viksit Bharat at the rate of 2047 is a conscionable effort requiring commitment, that is sankalp, collaboration, that is sahyog, and capabilities, that is shamata. Now, I said if time permits, if you are patient enough, I would also talk about what is the follow-up action. I will not take much time, just a minute of yours. So there could be more focused and crystallized input on why India matters. Why the world should look towards India. How can India make a difference to the world? What India can bring to the table for an equitable and just global order? And how unique is Indian experience, and how best we can integrate, learn, and unlearn from other experiences of the countries. Can we have a more pronounced exposition on this? I put a question and I also answer this, because yes, we can certainly have with a man like Srinivas ji, who is also heading the International Institute of Administrative Sciences. So he has that vigor, zeal, and enthusiasm, and the academic rigor, which is very, very important when we bring out a publication. So you can see that all the authors were practitioners, but they were conscious enough to adhere to that academic rigor. Initially, there were some, there was some hesitation on their part, and some of them said, "Bas, humse nahi hoga," but they only gave the best chapters. So that we are talking about today. So we can definitely do that, and future collaboration can certainly look into these aspects. So these are just indicative, but there could be an exhaustive list. And finally, I close expressing my gratitude to Srinivas ji for making me part of this very, very important endeavor and trusting me and reposing, again I tell, faith in me. You have many people in Delhi. But, and also chairperson, Dr. Mathew, who steered the editorial board in the right spirit and direction. And I personally learned a lot with this short association, and how prompt he is in his response, and very systematic, and as I said in the beginning, quite meticulous. And I was telling my friend also this morning, it was great being associated with you, sir. I don't know, maybe I strike a balance with you. You are a very simple and humble person, and you have no airs, and a lot to learn from you. And I take this opportunity to thank my other editors, editorial board members, S.N. Tripathi ji, who is not here today, but he was also quite encouraging, and A.P. Singh ji, who is also very simple and humble and quite cooperative. And of course, special thanks to Puneet Yadav ji and Pandey ji, Sardendu Pandey ji, and Sanjita Chatterjee, Miss Sanjita, who always has a smile on her face. And they have been very welcoming and forthcoming. They made everything possible and convenient to us. And I thank the organizers or IHC for making this possible. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again, and namaste.
So that was really a new perspective to the book. Every time I listen to Professor Sheela and Dr. Mathew, I go back with some more learnings and how we can translate what we heard today into reality. So we have 10 minutes of question answers. All departments officials are here. If you have any questions for Professor Sheela, go ahead. She will answer. She will answer. And of course, if you have any comments, then Dr. Mathew will take them. So, okay. Yes, Professor Rumki, please. You want to come there? No, I think they'll give you a mic. Here. Bhavnaji, please give Professor Rumki a mic. See, Professor Rumki heads the Center for Public Policy at the Institute of Social Sciences. And she is a former professor of public administration at Jamia and one of the leading thinkers in the world. So many of us who would have studied public administration would have studied her textbooks. Yes, please.
First of all, let me congratulate India Habitat Center for organizing this book discussion on a book which has simply amazed academicians like me. When I was gifted with a copy of the book in the February IIAS DARPG conference, I was there to chair a session or two. I thought, let me frankly confess, that this would be one of those Government of India sarkari brochure cum bulletin cum whatever handbook that are published from time to time to highlight government achievements or the current government achievements, or it could have maybe a more historical perspective. I didn't really read it at one go to be able to understand what the book was all about. Over the next few months, I did go through a few chapters, and finally I did get the perspective which has been very amply elucidated today by Dr. Mathew and Dr. Sheela Reddy, that what went behind the making of this book. Well, every time an IAS conference is organized, they do publish what is called a country book. So Srinivas ji also had a mandate to publish a country book, which would focus on the public governance and administrative achievements and the history, administrative history of the country that was hosting the conference. That was the mandate. And I did understand that this must be the way it would be written. But as I went on reading chapter by chapter, and I'm close to have finished reading most of them, I don't say I've read all of them, but most of them, I am simply, I have to thank Srinivas ji, Dr. Mathew and Dr. Sheela Reddy, the editorial board, for the vision which I didn't know and has been spelled out amply today, and the follow-up that you did in the capacity of being in the editorial board was very, very substantive. You went far beyond the mandate of a country book, and the finished knowledge product that I see in front of me, Viksit Bharat Governance Transformed, is the kind of book I, as an academician, as a professor of political science, would undoubtedly cite to my students as the most authoritative book, updated book on public governance and its journey in India over 75 years, and the projected vision for the future, which will also be a product of what the politico-administrative regime will do over the next 25 years. So let me congratulate all three of you on the dais for your larger vision. You went far beyond the mandate, and today the voluminous look can maybe deter a student or two to go through a book like this. As you know, students are so used to shortcuts today that they may not want to go through this book. But I have retired as a professor of public administration. I don't teach, I don't get to do lectures every day, but I do have a large number of students, ex-students and present students of various universities in Delhi and all over India, whom I would, after this day today, certainly go out in the public domain, in every forum that I speak in my lecture tours, recommend this book, and you can rest assured I'll recommend it with a lot of vigor and a lot of thought, that this is the book that students should be reading when they want to know more about the 75 years journey of public administration in India. So let me congratulate you all. Just a few questions, if time permits, just a few questions, which I felt maybe if you're going to have a larger reading public, if you want to give this book to every citizen of India, if you want that kind of public outreach, then maybe, you know, I felt a couple of things are a little ambiguous and doesn't give you a straight answer, or gives you the kind of answer which, again, as I said, in a very negative way, a Sarkari book, is that, you know, you have to be giving some answers to some questions which you have raised. For example, what do you have to say to India's position in the World Governance Index? I agree that the last 11 years has made a huge difference, but you're talking of a 75-year-old journey of the world's most populated and largest democracy on earth. So therefore, why is it that we are so far down in the World Governance Index? The second question, why are we still trapped in the middle income category if we are taking such giant steps, like from whatever 10th position to 5th position to aspiring to be the third largest economy with that kind of $1 trillion economy that you are aspiring to be by 2047, then would you tell me why are we still trapped in the middle income category group and likely to remain so even in 2047, which is what you stated in the book yourself? Why? Why does this happen? Some answers have to be given. Then regarding employment figures, employment, unemployment, whether it's rising unemployment or rising potential for employment, these issues have been completely sort of mixed up in the book. We do understand the labor rate, falling labor rate participation of women. That's a big gender issue. But why is this so even that is there a declining workforce participation rate even among men, so much so that we have one of the lowest in the world? So how do you talk of a demographic dividend and upskilling and so on and so forth? So these are queries which you have raised, not given the answers, or even if you have given the answers, they are ambiguous. So somewhere in a data-rich resourced book, a data-rich book like this should be able to have a balance of data with an explanation of the positions that you have taken in the book categorically, because it's meant for students as well.
Very good. Anybody else? Yes, please. I'll take 2-3 questions at a time. Yes, please. Please be brief. 8 o'clock we had to conclude. So,
Mr. Srinivas, no questions.
yes.
I am an ex-student of public administration 50 years back, and now my introduction is that I am ex-member Public Grievances Commission, Delhi. So,
Kindly introduce your name, please.
Dinesh Gupta. So I am a regular visitor of HLRC. So my friend is from US and he informed me that there is a book launch about India's 75 years journey of success. No doubt that we did a wonderful job for a developing country which was ruled for nearly 1,000 years. And special thanks to Mr. Srinivas for your endeavor in organizing for the publication of this book. I love to study and see it. I haven't as yet. But at the same time, I want to, the way Dr. Reddy explained and Mr. Mathew, there were contents about the book. It has really covered almost all the subjects and whatever we have done in through public administration. But few points which have been left, they are going to be covered in your second volume. And I think in your stewardship, it has been done so well. It's come out so well. And secondly, my submission is such books, since yours is a government undertaking, you should provide at least to our 700 plus collectors and those who are involved in the public area, the complementary copies. And if possible, get it translated into Hindi, like states like MP, UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, Himachal, Delhi. Most of the people are not conversant, they may not have time or interest to go through such a big book in English. So get it translated in Hindi and provide them. And my best wishes to you once again and to the editorial board. And the points which you are going to cover, I hope it will be more elaborative. And thanks to the points raised by Professor sitting next to me. Once again, congratulations and thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please.
Here is a question. First, I was given the chance third time. Madam, this you told that India is
Who's speaking?
this economy is 5th largest. You told it is already 4th. It has overcome Germany last 1 month back.
Yes, yes.
4 trillion economy.
We take it.
This is the correction.
We take that point.
And the second is, you are not going to develop. You are not the country to be developed. Many countries have already been developed, and there are few countries who existed as they are born developed, we can call. So if we are to accept it as a developed country, this Viksit Bharat, B for Bharat you have coined, B for this, H for this, worked very hardly with the dictionaries, playing with the terms, coining terms. So this model of this Viksit Bharat will be accepted internationally. From the economic point, okay, trillion, trillion, trillion. From other point of view, there are so many parameters required internationally. Whether your Viksit Bharat will be accepted in the other parameters also. This is my only single question.
Okay. Yes.
Not a lecture.
Yes.
Sensei Raj, founder Vision India 2032. I start with a small statement which you yourself have said, the 3 C's, and they are the perfect ones. Now, first of all, of course, I congratulate you for all this huge endeavor that would have taken hours and hours of, thousands of hours of commitment, which is one of your 3 C's. The question is that you mentioned that you pegged the growth rate at about 9% plus. You see, at 6.5%, we intend to cross $35 trillion by 2047, 20 trillion by 2032. That's one of the reasons why Vision Year 2032. And also the transformation of the governance is directly dependent upon the last man or the last man standing, as Dr. Mathew said. Now, if you take the bottom-up approach, combined with the policies, the governance is there for the society and the people and not the other way around. So I think that has got to go home within the government structure, which is manned by the officials today. Now, because it's a two-pronged approach the country would need. That is the political, which is already there, and then, of course, the officials, which will also have to go side with it. So the structural reforms, I haven't had the privilege to read your book, nor review it, but the structural reforms are the key for this country to move forward. If you have addressed that in the governance, I would say kudos to you, and as our professor pointed out, have you given out solutions, and I'll be happy to share some as well and deep dive in it. I think the solutions also got to be co-created rather than the top-down choking down the throats of the younger generations who have a very different idea of how the country should be and move forward. With that, your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Just one small question. How the politics of freebies are going to affect the developmental journey of India, and how to differentiate between freebies and social justice?
Thank you, Professor Rumki, for all the nice words that you said about the book. And I'm glad, but I think you should read it. Many of these questions have actually been discussed. And World Governance Index, we have engaged, we've tried to understand what is this rationale, because we find the index is not based on data, it is based on a lot of perception-based index. So that's why we came with the Good Governance Index, which actually points out a massive increase, 10 to 12% increase in our governance parameters across the very same indicators. So, one of the mandates that we are taking forward with the International Institute of Administrative Sciences is to build a comprehensive data-driven World Governance Index that will come out, which will truly reflect the nation's ongoing policy interventions in terms of achieving higher growth. Well, there was a question with regard to the structural benchmarks, how will the last man benefit? There are also a number of, when you see the capital investments that are growing in, I see the massive infrastructure growth and huge capital formations that are being witnessed. Infrastructure investments going into roads, shipping, into civil aviation. You look at the quality of airports, quality of urban infrastructure coming in. The transformation is quite significant, almost tripling or quadrupling of the budget allocations into these sectors has actually been witnessed. In terms of the subsidies, there has actually been a reduction in the subsidy bill, and we are coming back onto the fiscal roadmap in terms of the fiscal responsibility and budget management. So in terms of freebies, the 3 big subsidies of food, fertilizer and fuel subsidies, there has actually been a narrowing down of the subsidy allocations over a period of time. So I think these are the broad thrust of issues that we've had. We're already 10 minutes over time. and colleagues have to go very far off, so we would conclude here. But Puneet, you want to add something? Huh? You've been part of the whole journey, so you should add something, and Sanjita also 1 or 2 words.
Of let's say 12 chapters and 5,000 words each. So we were looking for a 300 pages book, and finally we reached around 750 pages. So which is where we are grateful to you, sir. And as you said, sir, about this further 2 to 3 books, sir, which again are very deep insights, and we definitely look forward to work on those. But maybe a timeline, something like that, you could tell our
We'll
audience
work out
here,
on
because
it.
that
We'll
is
work
something
out.
which has
Today
to be
we
worked
won't commit, but we'll work on it. Sanjita, you want to add? You've been part of the journey.
Sir, I would like to thank you very much. Like, I joined this department, I was very new to this department. Still, you believed in me, and it was my privilege, extreme privilege, to work with all of you, the editors, the authors, and to know all of you personally. And I am very grateful that you have liked whatever I have done. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Bhavna ji, the floor is yours, ma'am. Thank you. Sorry, we overran by 10 minutes. Thank you.
For a very lively and informative book discussion on a very important topic. We are really thankful to you, all of you. And we thank our wonderful audience for their participation and thoughtful questions. Thank you for taking out your time to be here with us today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.